Welcome everyone. My name is Sean, and today we got to talk about a viral video that is going crazy on Twitter right now that shows a teenager who is behind the wheel of a stolen Hyundai intentionally hitting a man on a bicycle for fun, and of course, that ultimately led to the death of that 64-year-old man. We're going to talk about this not just by the nature of the crime, but by the coverage from the alternative media, because a lot of people are taking this horrific, horrible, disgusting incident and using it to dishonestly attack a specific media outlet. So we're going to discuss this whole thing. We're going to talk about it. But before I get into that, I want to say thank you to everybody who signed up over on actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money. Okay?
And thank you to the podcast listeners, Spotify, Apple, and Google's podcasting platform. So because I don't enjoy showing you videos of people getting killed, and because YouTube age restricts me, I'm going to play this video for you that has been going viral on the twitter.com, but I will cut it before the point of contact is made because I think it is absolutely crucial that you guys hear what was said right before they struck this man and hear them laughing after, because this really goes to show you the intent of these criminals.
Alright, go. Go. Keep it moving. Bitch ass. Stop talking shit, bitch. Stop talking shit.
So the video actually starts out with our alleged car thieves inside the Hyundai, and they're going after this white car that is on the road that apparently talks some kind of trash to them or whatever. But as you could see in this portion of the video, they decided to clip that car in and around the taillight and talk crap to this individual. Now, to the YouTube human reviewer who is thinking that this is graphic violence focusing on gore and dead bodies when none of that is being shown, trust me, this is not worthy of an age restriction, so please set your nonsense aside as we progress through this video, because I assure you I'm not violating the terms of service, despite the fact that you will say so. So chill out with the age restriction button. Now, the video continues.
Ready? Yeah. Hit his ass.
Now, I'm cutting the video right here, but needless to say, we wouldn't be covering this story unless they hit this individual. And as you can hear from the people behind the wheel of the car, they're laughing it up, saying hit his ass, and they eventually end up doing so. And this ultimately leads to the death of the 64-year-old man, who happens to be a retired California police chief called Andreas Probst. And this happened on August 14th of this year.
Knocked out. The address,
Now, I left the audio playing so you could hear them laugh at the fact that they hit this guy. They said he's knocked out, and of course, they drove off, but eventually they were arrested in connection with this hit and run. Now, initially, they were charged with the stolen car and with the hit and run. However, the police were unaware of the fact that there was this video present that documented the whole incident. Now, the New York Post is reporting that the driver of the vehicle is a 17-year-old teenager. I saw other reporting that said the passenger may have been a 15-year-old. So their names have not been released to the public because of the fact that they're under the age of 18. Now, I've covered these stories multiple times on this channel, and one of the things we find out in terms of policy is that when somebody is arrested at the age of 17 for stealing a car, for being a member of the Kia Boys, because remember they steal Kias and Hyundais and driving like a maniac and filming it, that usually there are more cases that could have been charged more seriously in the history of the criminal that could have led to them being off the streets, so that the main incident where somebody ends up dying that we're talking about never would have occurred. As of right now, I do not see any reporting on the criminal record of this individual. However, I will bet you money that this person did something in the past. This was not the first incident. And of course, the soft on crime attitude that is prevailing in our nation across our major cities. This took place in Las Vegas. Vegas ultimately led to the lack of consequences that ultimately led to the death of this retired police chief. And obviously this crime is heinous. They murdered somebody for fun, for amusement. They laughed at the person after they killed him, and all around this is an absolutely horrible tale. And to get the racial angle out there, now initially it was believed that the teenagers were black, and of course the victim in this instance is white, and a lot of people thought that the reason why this didn't become a national news story was because the races were not reversed. People would say if this was two white kids running over an elderly black man, obviously it would be national news. But the thing is, even that was baseless speculation, because it turns out only one of them was black, and the driver, Jesus Ayala, was actually Latino. Yasmir Keys, named by the Daily Mail, is the person who is black, the passenger who was recently charged in his connection with the crime. Now, when people believed that the perpetrators were black, they thought this was the reason why this was not national news and was a local story. However, that was only true until the video came out. That was only true until it went viral on Twitter, until all of us could see it, because believe me, it is horrible. It's going to be linked in the description of this video so you could see it in full. It is important for you to view how horrible this crime actually was so you can understand it, so you can understand that the people stealing these Kias and Hyundais are not innocent Aladdins just trying to feed their family. They're malicious criminals who are doing it for the fun of it, and they need to be removed from the streets. And it's not just true of these two individuals, but it's true of the other Kia boys in other parts of the country. It is only a matter of time if you continually go soft on the prosecution of Grand Theft Auto before somebody ultimately ends up getting hurt. And it could have been the person in the vehicle that they clipped in the beginning. It could be a pedestrian, or in this specific case, it was a bicyclist who ultimately ended up dying. Now, as for Probst, the former cop had moved to Las Vegas after he retired from being a police chief in Bell, California in 2009, according to reports. Earlier this month, there was a memorial service held for Probst, who spent 35 years in law enforcement, according to KLAS. He was honestly a ray of sunshine, Taylor Probst said of her father. That just bled through your life. He was an amazing man and husband, Probst's wife, Crystal, added. So yeah, this is a good guy. He spent 35 years in law enforcement, was decent all around, according to members of his family, according to his friends, and his life was taken away due to the fact that these kids just wanted to have fun, but more importantly, possibly due to the fact that they were not prosecuted for their previous offenses that we have yet to have reported to us because of a soft on crime criminal justice system. But it is in fact important for you to understand that the order of events is as follows. Initially, there was the hit and run. They were arrested for the hit and run and arrested for the stolen vehicle violation. Weeks later, the police said that they discovered a video on one of these teenagers' phones, I'm assuming the passenger since he was the one filming it, and that's when they upgraded the charges to murder. And the reason you need to understand that is because if you go to twitter.com right now, you will see a bunch of people trying to stoke up even more hatred and misdirect you in order to get likes and retweets, and the number one culprit is using and abusing this specific headline. Quote, retired police chief killed in bike crash, remembered for laugh, love of coffee. Now, if you look at the people who are posting this, the overwhelming majority of them, the reason they are doing this is because they are under the impression that this local newspaper ended up putting this out after the video was discovered, after they found out about it. And you can see by a bunch of the captions that people put on this, they're trying to make that connection to the Daryl Brooks coverage, even if they're not stating it by name, where Daryl Brooks was somebody who drove through a crowd of white people, but the media kept reporting that the SUV did the attack. They wouldn't identify the person, even though if the races were reversed, they would focus solely on race. It's also meant to enrage you because it says bike crash, even though we know that this was a malicious hit and run where they deliberately ran over Probst with the intent of enjoying themselves, and that, of course, is a murder. So this is what is going viral right now on Twitter, but the thing is, this headline is from 4 weeks ago when we didn't have access to the video, when people didn't know what actually happened. So the people who are posting this as if it came out today are lying to you. And there's actually an updated version of this headline. And by the way, you can still see that the article is dated 4 weeks ago, and it reads as follows. Retired police chief killed in hit and run, remembered for laugh, love of coffee. Now again, this headline was changed partially due to the outrage, even though if you go to the full article, which by the way will be linked in the description, they always told the story of it being a hit run, they always told the story of it being a juvenile offender, and the fact that they couldn't release the name or the information based on the offender due to the fact that the offender was in fact a juvenile. And the reporters are getting information from the police, so they reported it as a bike crash, not when they knew it was a malicious homicide. In fact, even before they saw the video, they were reporting it was a homicide after police informed them of the existence of the video, and this is the headline from that same newspaper from 2 weeks ago. Bicyclist death a homicide after video emerges, police say. Now again, the video started to go viral in and around last week. Even though the police were reporting that they had it earlier, it was not, to my knowledge, released to the public. So this headline is perfectly fine. The other headline is perfectly fine based on the time that the story was actually written. But the thing is, people are trying to mislead you right now on Twitter, trying to gin up divisiveness, gin up hysteria, based on the fact that they're cutting off the date of the article and trying to pretend that the media is promoting some kind of agenda that is just not being promoted by this local paper. Now, to make matters worse, not only was the author of this piece harassed and sent death threats for allegedly being anti-white due to the fact that people were posting the 4-week-old headline as if it came out after the video came out, but it turns out that A, this was an obituary, meaning that it was more to be about him rather than the actual crime that was committed. B, the article, like I said hit and run in the article and didn't hide any information in the article. But C, this reporter is the one who discovered the video and turned it over to the police, which now led to both of these people being charged in the homicide rather than for stealing a car and a potential hit and run. So supposedly the author of this article was so sympathetic to the criminal because she's anti-white or whatever that she ultimately led to the criminals being charged with murder because she actually did a good job reporting. Nice job to everybody who shared this on Twitter for engagement in order to make a little bit of money. Look, I cover crime on this channel all the time, and anybody who's watched this channel knows for a fact that I do not shy away from talking about black crime, and I do not shy away from calling out the media when they're being misleading in relation to black crime, when they're promoting a certain agenda by highlighting the race in the rarer instance of a white person attacking a black person, and how they're not interested at all in ever highlighting the race in the more common instance where a black person attacks a white person. But I have to be 100% honest with you, even though some of the people that are posting this happen to be friends of mine, happen to be people that I know personally, they're just not being accurate in their reporting. They're trying to unnecessarily stoke racial division, and if it were being done by somebody on the left, I would call it out. So when you see these posts, it is either through ignorance or maliciousness because people are trying to generate those clicks, those retweets, those likes on Twitter, and I'm not about that. I'm not going to lie to you when the incident is as bad on its own. I'm not going to distract you with what the Las Vegas Journal Review reported 4 weeks ago with the facts not out there and pretend like it's today, when in reality, in actuality, we know for a fact that there is a great chance that this person had a lengthy criminal history and he was let off and that resulted in somebody dying. If these people actually put in the energy, put in the effort to looking into this guy's criminal history, to finding out where the system messed up, then they could actually contribute something of value to the conversation rather than try to stoke the fears and divisions and try to direct your ire at the media rather than the perpetrator and the system that potentially enabled that perpetrator. This is absolute nonsense that is going on in our country. The fact that we release people on Grand Theft Auto time after time after time until somebody dies and then we take it seriously is a shame on our major cities in our our nation. So no, I'm not going to distract you. I'm not going to lie to you with the stupid Vegas headline that wasn't even when all the information was out in the first place. And everybody who's doing that, you're dead wrong. There's no excuse for it. You should be able to check your sources. Some of you call yourselves journalists or reporters, and it's absolutely embarrassing. So yeah, I'm going to be following this case. I'm going to be looking into the new developments, and when the criminal record does eventually emerge, when we find out that this kid was given probation or given a free pass in some other way, I will actually bring that crucial information that is related to policy to you guys so you can advocate for the appropriate changes to make sure something like this never happens again. But again, I'm not going to be pushing any false narratives in order to get more retweets on Twitter. But hey, those are just my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you like this video, show them by leaving a like. Subscribe for more content. Follow me on all my social media. Support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about this absolutely horrific crime out of Las Vegas. Till next time.